Okay, folks, just thought I'd share something with you since we're starting this new series. I decided to bring a car back to life, so to speak. This old 63 Galaxy kit, my buddy Mark gave it to me about 13, 14 years ago. Yeah, and it's one of the first and only kits I've ever bothered to airbrush. I was so happy to get it. And did I get the color right? Well, I don't know. It just depends on the photos that you looked at, but it came out and, well, it is what it is today. And it's certainly seen, as you can see, its share of combat out here. There's plenty of badges of honor all around this car. Plenty of scratches, scrapes, rubs. Oh yeah, it's been on its hood. Trust me. And I just left it that way. I just wiped it down a little bit, but there really isn't any uh, point in cleaning it up any more than that. I just pretty much left it just like it was. The only thing I did was I updated the body mount system. Um, I needed to get the body set up different on this chassis opposed to the old H&R. I use this wood right here, and all this really is, believe it or not, is just a paint stick. You can get them for free at your hardware store. And I cut it in half, and then I just glue it in place whenever I get the height. But in the interior, like I said, it's just a piece of cardboard there with our driver figure, roll bar detail, dashboard, um, steering wheel, stuff like that. But it was really fun to bring this car back to life. I'm really excited to see all the people getting involved in this series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go through the chassis with you and give you some part numbers. Hopefully it helps some of you wanting to get started on this. So I'm just going to go through it real quick, give you a few part numbers, and I'll have all the links in the article in the link to the forum. And I just hope it helps you guys. But I got to tell you, I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited. Really appreciate all the interest in this series. This is just really, really cool to see all the folks coming out wanting to build. So let's just get right to it and take a quick look. All right, as far as the chassis is concerned, this is about as simple as it gets. Like I said, this isn't really a very difficult design, just a basic inline. I start out like I do the 132 cars. I use the JK D3 bracket, and then I use the K&S 7/32 tubing, go through here, just like that, like I showed in the other video, and then I put the oil lights on each side. So I'll have all those part numbers there, but the 7/32 tubing, that's number 5130. Slot Car Corner has it. And that's basically how I start all of my builds. And then I use these rails on each side. You can see they're tucked up right next to the bracket. Okay, those are the first two pieces. And I cut them, the length that I cut them dictates where my mounting brackets are going to be for the body. So the body really tells me how long I'm going to cut those. And I like to use this tubing, this square tubing. It raises up my body mounts a little bit. On some cars, it's nice to have those just a little bit higher than the bottom of the rails. Not everybody does that. It's just something that I do. And I usually just use the 5/32 K&S 8152, and that's the side rails for that. For the front, given that this is a 3/32 bore, I like to use the square tubing for my front axle. So in that case, I just go ahead and use the 1/8 8151 for that. As far as the steel is concerned, the rails here that you see here, I have 3. Now, I can tell you that really you should just go ahead and use K&S number 504, the 062. It's a little easier to bend, just as strong. I used 078, number 505 for this. I just wanted to try something heavier. I don't know why. It's just me. I like to do things different sometimes. And you can see that at the front axle here, I have one wire bent and starting here and one here. So they're kind of offset to hold the front axle in place. And they go back to here, and this one dead ends right here by the motor, and this one goes all the way back and it dead ends right there. And on the very outside, then I have another piece that's soldered here to support the rear axle tubing, and it goes all the way to the front, but it just dead ends. I know some guys are really good at making loops on each end. I'm not one of those guys, okay? So as far as the front guide is concerned, the guide holder is I'm just using basic brass strip. I'll have the part numbers in there, and then I like to double stack with some rectangular tubing and drill the hole. Honestly speaking, in scratch building terms, it's a lot easier to use the commercial guide with just a standard guide tongue and drill a hole. I just like using the Slotting Plus once in a while, just to show that you can use this in this scale. Just a little bit, nothing intricate there. Just a little piece of brass here to hold it here, and it does the job. Now, back here, again, I use the Mid-America 27 tooth crown gear and a slotted 9-tooth pinion. I do have the Jaws motor in place, but when the new motor comes out, the new Predator long can, I'm probably going to take this one out and put in the new one just to test. But like I said, you can use the Baby King, you can use the Jaws, or you can just wait on the new motor. You have plenty of time. As far as the body mount tabs are concerned, you know, any brass that you want to order, I get some of the 1/2 inch right here, kind of flexible. I'll show you the part numbers there. And I just, you can lay them across here, make it flat, solder, and then cut the pieces out and save that. Or you can cut them and mount them and hold them in there with clamps. But anyway, like I said, just a very simplistic chassis, but it does the job. So look at the links in the article if you're interested in that. All the links go straight to Slucker Corner. It's kind of a one-stop shop where you can just get everything you need to build this chassis. Now we're going to talk about the wheels and the tires. I'm going to show you a little tire sanding advice that you know, may or may not help you. Remember one thing, for this chassis, I did go 3/32 bore. You don't have to, you can go 1/8. I just have a bunch of the 3/32 on hand for the other Showdown builds, and it works just as well in this scale as it does in 132. So let's just get to the wheels and tires, and that'll be just about it. So a little word about the tires. I did choose the Paul Gauge 28-12-5 for the CB Design Steelies, and they are a little tall, and that's okay, because like I always say, it's easier to take away than it is to add to. So I like the profile, but and the height, but we're going to bring it down a little bit because it is a little high. Now, these are the same ones on the fronts, and you can notice the difference here on what I've done. Turned it down. I've also contoured the edges, so there's not that hard edge right there. And during the sanding process, I'd say we brought it down to, let's see here, 27-30, something like that. And I think it looks pretty good. I like the sidewall appearance, and it looks good. Now on the fronts, I know a lot of people do the old zero grit thing. I can tell you, using fingernail polish, I just can't stand that. It makes the car sound like a bag of marbles running down the track. I used one coat of Pledge, Revive It, or Future, if you want to call it. And I just coated the fronts once, and that basically makes this nothing. When you combine that with a good tripod setup, that's about as zero grip as I need, but everybody's different. Anyhow, how we're going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and start here with about 600 grit, and I always finish with about 1500. And while the tire is going, when the contour comes into play to get these edges off, is I just use an emery board. So while it's running, I'll sit here and I'll move it like that, and just get that edge off of there and just give it that nice little contour. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I have it contoured like we just talked about. Took the edges off. Um, just did the truing. As you can see, a lot of material in the truing process. And let's see what we did here. We brought it down to 2739, 2740. That's pretty good, pretty close to the fronts anyway. And I like the look of the tire on the wheel. So it looks pretty good. Now we'll do the other side. All right, so that just basically covers everything. Got a little body float going on here. Let's give it a road test. All right, well, 10 lap burst. 2864. That might be a tick faster than War Eagle River there in the last event. So, Chief, looks like I'm in the game. But the important thing is it was just fun to bring this car back to life. I'm going to build a new one, but it's fun to bring these old ones back to life. Ones that I've had laying around for years that we've raced and raced. Updating them and getting them back in the game. So again, like I said, look forward to see your builds, guys, and I hope this helps you a little bit.